Solo Cup is the best receptacle for barbecues, tailgates, fairs, and festivals, and you, sir, do not have a pair of festivals if you prefer drinking from glass. A Red Solo Cup is cheap and disposable. In 14 years, they are decomposable, and unlike my home, they are not foreclosable. Freddie Mac kissed my back. Woo! Red Solo Cup, I fill you up. Let's have a party. Let's have a party. I love you, Red Solo Cup.
Red Solo Cup.
Kingsley, you picked that song?
Good morning today. Good morning. Today is Wednesday, and this is the Urban Talk Radio 103.5 FM, WNHHLP, where you hear conversation, information, education, inspiration, and motivation, and some even Red Solo Cup intro from the American Urban perspective. I am your host, Kingsley Ossei, and my co-host, Shafiq, is over here questioning me as to did I pick up this intro? Yes, I did pick up this Toby Keith intro, Red Solo Cup, and I'm trying to have a party because the Democrats pulled it off last night. Big shout out.
Oh, for real? That's where we are right now.
In the studio today is our special guest. We have no special guest, and oh boy, somebody said she's hungry. Today on Urban Talk Radio, you can join the conversation on Facebook at Bold Minds and Twitter at Bold Minds. Also on my Facebook page, Kingsley Ossei. You can also stream this show on your smartphone or computer by logging on to newhavenindependent.org. Cheers to the Red Solo Cup. Let's have a party. Huh?
That's who? That's who?
What?
You said Red Solo Cup?
You don't know nothing about the Red Solo Cup song, bro?
No, I don't even know what that is.
Shout out, that's Toby Keith.
No,
that is one of my daughter's new favorite songs. My daughter has been on some more country music. You know, she loves Chattahoochee by Alan Jackson. She really loved Alan Jackson. She loves Darius Rucker. Not too long ago, she just asked me about the Darius Rucker song. What's the name of the Darius Rucker song you like, babe? She said, Yeah, so I had to play the Red Solo Cup because we're trying to have a party for that win last night.
Yeah,
let me just say that I'm on yes. Yeah, Red Solo Cup. Let me just say I'm undefeated. Just to be clear. I'm undefeated.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing. It's a good thing you're undefeated.
I deserve to celebrate because I am undefeated in my calls for elections. This was my last call. Last week, you could roll the tape back if you want. Shafiq said Warnock was going to win. He said Herschel Walker was going to win. I said, no, Warnock got this.
I said he was likely to win.
Yeah, likely or unlikely or whatever.
He almost won, dude. I mean, just for name recognition.
I'm on a roll, bro. I'm on the road. And I also called him a word that I think you was kind of mad at me for saying that he is, what did I say? What did I call him? Got you all mad, got you all riled up?
There's some derogatory stuff, man. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? He said some derogatory. I am, I'm telling you, to be honest with you, how's my sound today? Because I'm not in my studio. I'm on a mobile studio. How's the sound? Can you hear me?
You sound okay. Let's go. Go to me.
Is there a delay in my voice? You know, like sometimes
I did call him a clown, and you was offended because I called him.
That's not good, man.
I
don't like. That's not good, man. I don't like the fact that.
You trying to acknowledge now, right?
Well, you got a black candidate.
Man, don't pull that black stuff, man. Don't pull that black stuff. I'm gonna mute you for every second you're trying to pull that black card stuff, man. There were two black candidates that went at it. One of them is an Ebenezer. He's a pastor. And everything, he knows the policy. The other one was talking about. The other one was talking about werewolves and vampires. President Obama went in on them. President Obama went in on them so bad. Obama said if he wasn't a candidate, I would have taken it for a joke. but
here's the thing. So here's the question. Here's a good question, though. So the question remains: did he win because he won, or did he win? I mean,
He
obviously,
won.
Obama
He,
played a
he
played a
won.
major
He
role.
won because he was a really decent candidate, and he ran on his records. He did run on his records of everything that he backed up Biden's policy. Yeah, the fact that Democrats don't like Biden's policy doesn't mean that nothing was done. Yeah, they just
Doesn't mean
didn't
it's a
like what was
bad
done.
policy.
I'm okay, whatever. They just don't like it, don't mean that it wasn't done. Biden ran on whatever it is that he said he was going to do, and the man just run a decent candidacy. Yes, they did run over $80 million worth of ads, more $80 million, and that is just off the runoff alone. And I got
He ran some
a
negative
problem with that.
campaign stuff.
What you
He
say?
ran some negative campaign stuff. He did some negative campaigns.
He did some what?
Negative campaign stuff. He ran some negative.
No, I'm saying the negative campaigns, if it's being run by PACs, you could either control it or you could either let it go. But when you, as the candidate yourself, you out there just, he has so much stuff to run. Of course, Herschel Walker was like giving. He was like a Saturday Night Live material. He was damn near worse than the things you could do with Trump. I mean, he was giving materials every single day.
And I guess here's my thing. Here's my point. This is my concern. And you just qualified it. Herschel Walker, a black candidate. And now suddenly we hear things this morning, he was worse than Trump. And Trump said some things, but he's worse than Trump. No, he wasn't. He can't be the devil and the boogeyman at the same time.
No, he wasn't worse than worse than
so
Trump.
If the issue was he didn't have the experience, we can all agree. If the issue was he wasn't articulate or affluent in using
articulation
that's
is a
fine.
nice word.
But if we're gonna start getting into because you do this, right? So you say 1 minute, you say, well, former President Trump was behind January 6th and the insurrection, taxes and all this other stuff. But now, based on all of that, yet Herschel Walker is worse than that. Why? Because he's a black guy?
No, I'm not articulate. It doesn't mean that I'm. Hold up. Hold up. Let me talk about myself. I'm not articulate. If I compare myself to you, I'm not articulate. I think you are more articulate than me. I'm that guy that. Listen to me. Listen to me.
You can speak multi languages. I can't. I cannot speak any African language.
We could go in so many different directions. I am that executive director that when you want to interview me, I said, let me put my spokesperson on, because I done created a spokesperson to do interviews because I'm not articulate enough to even talk about my own program, right? So let me put somebody else that could use all the right languages to do it. But if we use articulate, that's giving him a pass. The man just have no idea of policies for the job that he's applying for. And when
policies, man, he was gonna develop the Werewolf Act. He was gonna. He has some policies, man. He was gonna make it ladies' night at the bar for all werewolves. Man.
And then you want to talk about the black stuff, like, for what I heard, what I was reading, Georgians, black people in Georgia said it was such an insult to them that Republicans will put up a black celebrity candidate to get their vote, who couldn't tell them nothing about why they should vote for him. It was an insult to them. So when you put up two black candidates together now, you got to be able to differentiate. Why should we vote for this black kid versus the other? And when you start sending me pictures of Lindsey Graham on the left and Cruz on the right, with this dude sandwich in the middle, bringing them to an interview to go answer his questions for him, like they not kidnapped him.
So the final vote, what I'm looking at, Warnock got 51.4%. Herschel Walker got 46%. Warnock got 1,814,841 votes, and Herschel Walker got 1,719,387 votes. So there was roughly about 190,000, about a 90,000 vote split, won by 90,000, which to be quite honest with you, is not a lot. 51% of the vote is enough to win. Don't get me wrong. All right. If I ran for office and I got 54% vote, I ain't complaining. I won. Right. But in terms of when we think about it, and I would agree with you in terms of the intellect and just the putting both side by side. Even the Republican analysts have said that Warnock ran up against more of the machine that he ran up against in a formidable opponent. So the question becomes, if the Republicans put a formidable opponent up against um, him, right, there would be a tougher race.
Okay, so let me answer that. First of all, remember that this is a historic, this was a historic win for Black because this is the first Black candidate. This is the first Black U.S. senator serving a full term in the state of Georgia. If you listen to that man, if you listen to that man's speech last night, it will give you chills. Okay, so I use the word that you hate, purple state. Remember, if you look on their electoral map, Georgia is bloody red, spread it out all over. So that part of where their Black vote is, they needed to do whatever they needed to do to smoke their vote out of there because the entire Georgia is all red. So when we start making a comparison as to he only got less than 100 to win, no, even if he got 5 to win, it's a big deal because this state is turning from red to purple to until we can actually take the governorship from them. But it tells you a whole lot.
So here's the thing, and I think this is what kind of gets Republicans nervous, to be honest with you, and I think what gets white voters nervous. You use the language, we got the first Black, and and like you said, hey, this is historic. Now we are in Congress. Soon we will get the governor's seat in Georgia, and I think what really concerns conservatives and white voters and Republicans is the concept around identity politics. Why does it have to be we get this and we get that? If a white candidate or a group of white constituents says, you know what, next time we gonna take back the Senate from Warnock, and then we gonna be back in control of Georgia, and we gonna make sure that Stacey Abrams and none of them. I mean, we would kind of freak out. So how do we have a conversation? And I understand where you come from. I get it. But how do you have a conversation in a way where you can truly celebrate accomplishment of African American leader in policy without making it seem like it's a retaliation?
Right. They got to change that. They got to change the policy. I mean, this is the same people that try to do that. Republicans have this thing where they got to do voter suppression in order to win.
They do voter suppression, dude.
They got.
Watched it, dude. I watched CNN. So the dude came on. So Don Lemon had a Black guy come on. I think he was a professor, and he said you have to go on an app, or you could go to an app to see how long the lines are. So he said all lines is like 2 hours. Found one for 90 minutes. He had children, him and his wife. He had to try to figure out sort of time they could stay in line. He was in line for about 70 to 90 minutes. Then, after he got out of that line, they put you in a room. They give you an application. He said, now you got to fill out driver's license, all this other information. He said the same information that they would have had on the registration card, they would make you fill that out. Then the person would review that. Then they take the application, they put it in the computer. Then after you did that, they sent you off to yet another line where you would stand in line, give your name again, you give your name again, and they would give you the piece of paper, and then you would finally go vote. So he said that in itself added something like another hour and a half to the process, right? So first thing I thought about was, what if you're not really good at writing?
Right.
I got like arthritis in my hands, but sometimes my writing is horrible depending on the day it is, right? Or what if you just don't really know how to write? there's a lot of people that still don't know how to write in cursive or print, or they prefer not to. Some people have reading challenges. Maybe if you didn't bring your glass, I can't even remember the last time I brought reading glasses. People who bring reading glasses to go vote. It's like, I know who I'm voting for. This thing is big enough. But they definitely did some gatekeeping procedures, which could have changed.
They did cut out the Saturday, and they had to go sue to get that back on the Saturday of the Thanksgiving. You see, so my whole
So
thing
do you
is,
think those things piss people off? I mean, like, so let's talk about in concept of Black people.
it does piss people off because I'm gonna let you finish that, but it does piss people off because we are good for saying that our vote doesn't count, and that our vote doesn't count. That really works on people when people don't understand the way Congress works and the way the electoral colleges and all that. It makes they really get our vote doesn't count. So the question is, yes, my love. Okay, you got to keep reminding them, if your vote doesn't count, then why are they working so hard to suppress you? That is, so those are the little things that should piss you off to say, you know what, F that, man. I'm going out to vote. But we need to learn to come out on the day of election to vote, because this whole thing about them trying to suppress the early voting, knowing that their people will show up and we may not show up, we need to change that.
Let's talk about Stacey Abrams.
Before we do that, let's go to station IDs. This is the Urban Talk Radio 103.5 FM WNHHLP. I am your host, Kingsley, Ossei, my co-host, Shafiq. And if you are just joining us today on the Urban Talk Radio, you can join the conversation on Facebook at Bold Mindset, Twitter, also on my Facebook page, Kingsley OSEI. You can also stream this show on your smartphone or computer by logging on to newhavenindependent.org. We have so much to cover. And before we even talk about Stacey Abrams, first of all, let me give you a big shout out for a very wonderful weekend that we had. I called my friend.
Man. I love you up, bro.
I called my friend Shafiq, that, hey, I'm around, let's hook up for a cigar talk. And the next thing you know, we turned it into something real big. I invited a few friends. He invited a few friends. And the next thing you know, it's like a podcast. It's like grown men having
yeah.
It was a non-taped podcast. I mean, the conversation went into financing, family, gun violence, social life.
Kanye.
Kanye, it started off with Kanye, and it just ended up in a very good place. And good bourbons, good cigars definitely bring a lot of good conversation and good food. And so I definitely want to thank you for that hospitality of us putting this thing together randomly and making. And then in Bridgeport, I did the same thing in Bridgeport, but not on that level. I just invited a few of my friends to the my guy's restaurant. It's called 29 Marco Court. Very nice restaurant. I tagged you in on it. Ate one of the best steaks I've had in a very long time. And we're gonna invite him to the show. My guy, Chef Damien, and his boy, his partner Wes. I mean, that is a very beautiful thing they're doing in Bridgeport. So we're gonna invite them to the show to give them some coverage. So yes, if you're in Bridgeport, go down there and check them out. All right. So you want to talk about Stacey, but it's a lot to cover. So go ahead.
Yeah, no, so it's just interesting as I listened to, yesterday, Van Jones and others, and they talked about how this thing with Stacey's been 10 years in the making, and this has been a long time coming, and it's interesting to see people's perspectives. It's like, okay, yeah, Warnock won, Obama came down, certainly was a collective effort in order to win. And, it happened. So the question, I guess the question that I have now is, what is Stacey going to get? We're not going to go. Is Biden going to give Stacey nice post? That's my question.
Stacey's a mobilizer. So,
No. Stacey is trying to run for governor. My question is is he going to now get, appoint her to the secretary of, I don't know.
Stacey can get whatever she wants to a certain extent. You know what I'm saying? Because Stacey has shown her power of being able to turn Georgia into a purple state, which is it's a more of a big deal. Like, we haven't really got into a reality of what is really going on in Georgia. For us to even try, for her to even try to make an attempt to almost get that Georgia governorship seat is such a big deal. We don't really see it like that. We take it for granted, like it's so easy to, for Georgia to really turn blue. Yeah, shout to President Obama. He did help turn a lot of these red states into purple, turning some into blue, and it's been hard to really maintain it ever since. It brought a reality to these people that, hey, hold up. We got to do some more voter suppression because we can't let this stuff go. And my thing, what saddens me is, it's like sports. The rules are set for both sides. The refs, it doesn't change. It's set for both sides, the same rules, right? So if you got good policies, put it up and let your voters come out and vote. Mitch McConnell, in the beginning of this election, did not want his people to talk about policies. He said it in his own words. He did not want them to talk about policy, and they also wanted to dodge debates, because if they don't have to debate, that's also part of them dodging, not talking about policy. So it wasn't a surprise that Democrats
you had some people not doing debates. I mean, you had Chuck Schumer. He was running against Joe Pinion in New York for the seat, and Chuck Schumer was like, "I'm not debating him." He would not debate him.
Well, to Democrats' credit, even like what happened in Arizona, some of these Republican candidates, that the MAGAs, they are such a cult that you cannot debate them, because it's not going to be a substantive debate. It's not. It's like debating Trump. It's not happening. That's what I mean. I've learned not to debate people that, it has to make some sense. We just cannot be debating. If it's not going anywhere, then it makes no sense to debate. So yes, if they choose not to debate because it's not going to make any sense, I applaud them for not doing it. But
so you're saying,
Democrats do lose a lot.
So you saying that
in New York?
You saying a person can? You saying it's okay for? I'm confused because
I'm not trying to pick and choose, but my point is, if they are willing to debate on the substance, then everybody should debate. First of all, everybody needs to debate. But if somebody chooses not to debate because it's not going to be a fair debate, you're not going to be talking about nothing, which has been proven that these MAGA candidates wasn't about talking about nothing. First of all, they haven't been talking about anything. Nobody knows any policy. Tell me any policy Marjorie Taylor Greene is backing that really benefits real American people.
That's true. I agree with that. I would agree with that.
These people are known for just backing Second Amendment rights, first, freedom of speech, Second Amendment rights, and they're right in there all the way to winning elections with it.
All right, so now here's a question. So now the Democrats, they got some control. What should we expect to see different in America? How is life going to be different on the ground for the average American? I want to know.
First of all, it takes two to make things go right.
The economy is trash.
Democrats haven't taken over nothing. Democrats have not taken over nothing. Matter of fact, let me reverse that. Republicans have taken over the House. So, when they asked Joe Biden, what are you going to do different? I did like his answer, but he could have added on to his answer. He said there's nothing to change because they've been passing legislations. He's got stuff out there that Republicans have been rejecting. As much as they like to beat on Joe Biden is one of the most bipartisan presidents that we could get.
We got all that. But
you should know that because you get mad that he's not using his pen to sign.
Well, we got all of that, but the question becomes, how is this now going to impact same-sex marriage? How is this going to impact?
And I gave you an answer that we didn't.
I
gave you an answer that we did not benefit. We actually just took one of the seats that they should have got. We took a Senate seat from them, turned it from 50-50 to 51-49. But they got the House. And what are they going to do with the House? That's the question that you should be asking. They said they're going to do a whole lot of investigations. Hunter Biden. And the question should be, what does that do for you in your life? with a whole lot of Hunter
They're
Biden
gonna come, let me tell you
investigation.
something. They're gonna come for Hunter Biden and they're gonna hold him hostage towards his father. That's what they're gonna do. They're gonna
You
hold
know,
him hostage.
yeah, they got a what
You
call
know
it?
that.
They got a what you call it 2.0. What's the name that they did to Hillary? Benghazi 2.0. Yeah,
But the
aiming for
question, but I go back again. The question is, there's three hot topics on the national scene: same-sex marriage, abortion, and the assault weapons ban. So what happens with those three?
assault
Those
weapons
are
ban.
three. Those are
Assault.
three in our face issues outside of inflation, recession, to include highest gas and grocery prices, right? American job growth. How do we bring more companies back into the United States and get that revenue and jobs here? You know, what are we doing? You know, and then
Who's calling the ball on?
immigration control, right? Of course, border
Okay,
control, immigration
who's
control.
calling the ball on? When the last time you seen Republicans trying to do anything about immigration rather than talking about every problem that he has and rallying up their base to go vote for them? Okay, at some point, when we met Saturday, we said that, you know what, we know what the problem is. We're not going to be doing a whole lot of talking about the problem. Let's talk about solution. All right. So, you know, Republicans are very loud about gun violence. No, not about gun violence. They don't bring the word gun in. They talk about violence. The only time they bring gun in is when they want to talk about Chicago. That's when they talk about gun violence. So they get so loud about violence and gun violence in Chicago. They get very loud about immigration.
But we still do have, so I guess the other part is, I mean, look.
So now that they have the House, now that they have the House, what kind of laws are they going to pass to solve these problems? That should be your question, because now they got a House where the laws are being, you know, passed before it gets to the Senate. What are they going to do about that?
I mean, what do you think we need? What do you think we need to do? Because we do have gun violence. We do have a massive. I'm sorry. We have a massive, gun violence issue around the country. Chicago,
Shafiq, you have some of the answers, and you know, one of the answers you never liked that, you know, common sense gun control. There is common sense gun control laws out there that Republicans refuse to touch. So, you know, I'm not going to keep beating this horse about NRA having a hold on your party, and these people refuse. I mean, people are dying every day, and all we hear is, you know, prayers and thought. The Republicans, the Republicans' law to dealing with this thing is prayers and thought. Prayers and thoughts. That's what we hear every time. Prayers and thought. There's a video I want to play for you. There's a video I want to play for you. It's a 30-second video of the people the cops, the police officers that died at the Capitol. You remember?
Yeah.
Right. So the family went to Congress or the White House yesterday, and this happened. I guess they had some medals, and they're trying to shake some hands, and they walked past Mitch McConnell, and what's his name, without shaking his hand, McCarthy. I don't know if you've seen that. Did you see? I normally send you these videos.
No.
It's a 30-second video. Hold up, right here. Can you see the screen?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So what we are showing you is, hold on, let me revise it. What we are showing you is the family. Watch this. If the family of the deceased police officers that died at the January 6th Capitol, shaking hands, they shook Chuck Schumer's hand, they shook Nancy's hand. Mitch McConnell got his hands up. They are holding the medals, but they're not shaking. They walk past them. Yes, they basically snubbed them.
So they will not shake the hands of the family. Will not shake the hands of his brothers. Will not shake the hands of the GOP people.
No, they wouldn't shake their hands because they say that they are hypocrites. First of all, these people Trump did not even raise the flags for the police officers that died. Republicans wanted to shut down the investigation, which have currently indicted, not only indicted, but, you know, the oath keepers, people that actually was behind all these activities have been found guilty. If the investigation didn't go forward, none of this would have happened. But these same people that are standing out there with their hands open, ready to shake these people's hands, are the same people that wanted to shut these investigations down. Moral of the story.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I talk with one of the presidents of FOP and a couple of the Fraternal Order of Police, some other folks at the national level, even before January 6th. And, what I had been saying throughout this whole, I guess you would say, pre-Trump era, watching people on TV with the, Blue Lives Matter flag and all that stuff, I called the FOP and said, why are they got this flag? Why are people taking on this flag? This is not even, in the real world, there's civilians, then there's law enforcement. And Blue Lives Matter flag is really a law enforcement flag. And it's a flag that particularly is for fallen officers. It's not a flag to be displayed as a new banner. It's crazy. And now it is. Now it's been coined, unfortunately, at that. But what even made it more disturbing was to see people at the Capitol claiming to be patriots, the Blue Lives Matter flag, killing police officers under the name of that flag. That's absolutely disgusting. So I have a serious problem with that. It's a serious. It would almost be like, well, I don't want to use they probably always trying to be good at comparisons and then screw them up and get in trouble. I don't use it. So I don't screw up and get in trouble. But the Blue Lives Matter flag, the history of that flag is fallen off the officers killed in the line of duty. That is what that flag was supposed to represent. I was a police officer for 21 and a half years. That flag didn't even surface itself really until the Black Lives Matter movement, particularly around the Tamir Rice shooting, which kind of sparked it after Mike Brown. And then some FOP officials in the Midwest said, well, if Black Lives Matter, Blue Lives Matter. And then that flag kind of took on that meaning just for the cops. I was at a conference in Florida with the president of that particular area. He admitted during the meeting when I challenged him about all of this stuff that was a bad idea. Looking back, that they wish that they had not taken that approach by saying Blue Lives Matter, because they realized by saying it, they were discounting what Black people were trying to say about the state of policing at the time. Right. That was phase one. Phase two was when President Trump was running for office, and you've got Republicans and other white people in the Midwest and around the country now making it their Black Lives Matter movement for white people. And it was like, no, man, you got people holding the flag. They don't even like cops. Like, we assume that all white people like the police. People are people. Everybody does not like police. Everybody don't like the police, no matter how conservative they are. And most people do not want, I think it's just natural that most Americans do not want the police in their everyday business. And everybody can't be a cop. It's a very signature industry. So I had definitely got a problem still to this day. I'm like, I'm not.
They made it them versus us. They took the U.S. flag and turned it into a blue Lives Matter.
The fact that somebody would go to the steps of the Capitol, even with an American flag, I mean, I think it's wrong. It's all wrong. You're there with an American flag, you're killing cops. You're there with a Blue Lives flag, you're killing cops.
I know.
So that just in the name of democracy, that incident was one of the most unpatriotic incidents in modern day America, because it was crazy. It was absolute crazy.
I always talk about how we invade other countries that do stuff like that. We were known, we police the world for stuff like that. So to see a Congress whose lives were attacked to even try to block investigations into what matters and whitewash it. And like I said, I told a lot of my youth students to, I said, you may not be able to watch it live, but go back and really watch it, because history will not be told exactly as happened. Depending on what library you end up at, is going to be the book that you're going to read. It's not one size fit all. It's, you end up in the wrong library, you're going to pick up the wrong book, and it's not going to tell you the truth. So you need to watch it. You need to read it as it's unfolding, watch it as it's unfolding, so you could tell your kids and your grandkids about it. You're going to remember 20, 30 years from now, you're going to be like, oh, 20, 30 years from now, I remember watching that video.
I personally don't even honestly think they're going to have to remember 20, 30 years from now. I think that the January 6th incident was just really the tip of the iceberg of more incidents to follow in this country. That wasn't a shutdown. That whole incident, that wasn't like a one and done. I mean, we just had a power grid taken out in North Carolina. It's like, oh my God, they shot up the dude. Do you know what it takes they take down a power grid? They took down a power grid, two power grids, 16 miles apart, and shut 40,000 people without power in rural North Carolina. So if you took down a power grid in, a metropolitan city, maybe within 10 square blocks, that's 40,000 customers. But you're talking about taking out a power grid in a rural area like North Carolina, you're talking 40,000 homes. The town may only have 20,000. Talking about putting an entire town in the dark. You're just not putting a town in the dark. Take out a power grid. You are people who are relying on life emergency saving CPAP machine, whatever, right? Oxygen machine, other types of medical emergency. They told people that, basically stay in your house. They had to put a curfew in. This is not the first time. 2013 incident like this happened in California, and they attributed it to a white nationalist group or white nationalists. And then it happened again, I believe it was in California, another part of California. And even this sheriff in North Carolina has alluded that there may be a group, some type of domestic terrorism.
So Shafiq, we got 7 minutes left on the radio, and let me use it as a segue. All this stuff is driven from somewhere, and for me, it's driven from our public officials to begin with, because that is where the laws are being made, and they can be the ones to really put a brake on all this stuff. So we have one side of the government, the leader of a party, that is going after FBI, the institution, and at the same time, that same person is the candidate, which is Trump, the candidate of a party running for a president. So we have the presidential candidate who is going after the institution. He doesn't believe in the institution, but he also wants to be the head of that institution. The latest thing is Trump calls for suspending the Constitution. And this is what kills me about how Republicans move the goalposts of what they want out of the Constitution and what they don't like out of it. And at the same time, they are the champions of the Constitution. Shafiq, I'm not sure if you heard what I just said. You cannot make this stuff up, okay? These people are the champions of First Amendment right. These people are the champions of the Second Amendment rights and every right that you can think of. But at the same time, when Trump says that he's calling to suspend the Constitution, Jim Jordan is quiet.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Cruz is quiet. Cruz has been running his own political career on being a champion of the Constitution, and he hasn't said nothing yet. Talk to me, bro.
I don't know. I mean, Harry did just post something in there where I have heard high intellectual conversations of people saying things like, the Constitution was written by 55 young and middle-aged white who went in the room. It did not include women in the room, and no other race in the room, certainly Black people. And they all got together and they wrote a Constitution based on their own interests. I will say that those guys was pretty intelligent because they did put together a pretty decent document. 246, 48 years old is still standing. And it has been amended, obviously, for time, various amendments. So I don't believe that we need to rip up. I don't think, you know, do we need some new amendments added to it?
Definitely.
And if that is what needs to happen, then let's just have a conversation and start talking about adding those amendments. And part of the problem is it's hard to have a conversation about amendments when we have a government divided and people do not feel the inclusivity of democracy. And that's what I think got to get back to the inclusivity of democracy, not just at the national level, not just at the local level or the state level, but even at the local level. People have to feel that they are a part of the governmental process. And that really starts with a really hard personal decision of an interior fight, register to vote, and vote, and to follow up with that vote. It's like playing basketball. I used to play basketball. They would say, make the shot, because you're like, I'm going to make this shot. Confident you're going to make the shot. They said, follow the shot up in case you miss so that you can get the rebound. That's really what we got to do. We got to make a personal decision to make sure we're registered to vote. Then we've got to follow that candidate. We need to vote, and then we need to follow up after that vote and keep keep ourselves informed and be ready for the next and be ready to take on a position on a commission and be civically engaged, volunteer. But we're not going to get this thing better by sitting on the sideline, armchair revolutionary, sitting on the armchair and talking about it. You got to get out there and do it. So I think that's the difference. And why do we do that? The daughter. Doing it for your daughter.
Let's close out on the radio. This is the Urban Talk Radio 103.5 FM WNHHLP. I am your host, Kingsley, Ossei, and my co-host, Shafiq. And if you are just joining us in the last part of our show, you can follow the conversation on Facebook at Bullmice and Twitter at Bullmice. Also on my Facebook page, Kingsley Ossei, Twitter at CAVBPT. And you can also stream this show and the previous shows on your smartphone or computer by logging on to newhavenindependent.org. Thank you for joining us. Remember, Urban Talk Radio airs every Wednesday at 11 a.m. I repeat, every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Not 11:15, not 11:20. Shots fired at 11 a.m. The conversation will continue for a bit until Harry kicks us off. But now that we are off the radio, I see some things going on in the chat. And you see, Shafiq, you see why I will not. You see why I will not. You see why I will not debate Harry, right? Because he puts stupid stuff like this, like the Democrats. Guys, this is what I'm reading in my chat from my producer. The Democrats have been moving towards a dictatorship. I can't believe a MAGA person would even use the word dictatorship towards anybody else. 3 hours on January 6th compared to the lunacy of Antifa and Black Lives Matter. You see, this is why we can't have this conversation. The FBI.
You know what I do? I measure that up against Kanye West's interview with Alex Jones. You know,
I know, right?
It is what it is, man.
He said the FBI has been corrupt, or the FBI wasn't corrupt. I know you made a mess. The FBI, my little one telling me she made a mess. FBI wasn't corrupted when they helped Hillary lose the election to Trump. It wasn't corrupted then. They were all quiet, right? The Democrats hate the Constitution and have called it outdated. I'm just reading everything that my producer Harry put in the chat. I talk to liberals every day that are all about destroying the system. Destroying the system. I can't believe I'm reading this. A MAGA person is writing all this.
I can't believe you're entertained either. You're that guy.
You're that guy. I'm just reading. I'm just reading it to our listeners. I'm just reading it to our listeners. That's all.
You're the mouse in the mouse trap. Mouse traps were made for you.
He said Trump talked out his, you know what, because when he said that, a presidential candidate talked out of his, you know what, when he said that, right? The liberals are all about controlling free speech and taking away your Second Amendment right. They hate the Fourth Amendment. Okay, I read it. Yes, my love. Yeah, I read it all. Yo, what we doing with this Elon Musk guy, bro? Talk to me, Shafiq. What are we doing with this guy? I mean, this guy is taking
I'm
First
not even
Amendment.
paying that no mind. Here's a problem I think that we have.
We have to pay it in mind because this guy has put so much money behind First Amendment rights and is getting out of control. Matter of fact, hold up. I did take a picture on TV the other day. I'm gonna read it to you about the rise of hate. I think it was what the rise of hate speech on hold up. Is the hate speech since Elon Musk took control. The use of the N-word have risen 300%. Anti-Semitic posts have risen 61%. Gay slurs 58%, and anti-trans slurs 62%. Shafiq, right here. I'm reading to you right here. That is what I just read.
I mean, but here's so I hear what you're saying,
Elon Musk allows prominent neo-Nazi back on Twitter. Go ahead.
Here's the thing. Hate speech has been on the rise. It's not new. Hate speech really started coming online with the election of President Obama. That's when it got more emboldened. It just hasn't stopped. Elon Musk is not the catalyst to hate speech. It's already been here. He's just a bigger figure.
It's giving us percentage. It didn't say it was invented. It's giving us percentage of the rise.
But it's been going on it's actually been going on since President Obama. President Obama.
Shafiq, I hear you over and over, but you are discounting the percentage of the rise just lately. I mean, you believe in statistics. You believe in stats.
Wait, but what was that from, Kingsley? That was a CNN poll?
Because you are always talking about stats.
But that was CNN?
Is talking about the rise, the percentage of rise since this guy took over, bro. I'm not saying that it didn't exist. I know when it elevated, when the elevation started, the Tea Party, when they came in, trust me, I know when all this stuff started. But it's basically telling you where people felt like we finally found a champion of our freedom of speech. And now we get to say anything that we want, and we're not getting kicked off. And that is where we are. That is what I just read. What?
Yeah, I mean, so the problem that I have with all of this is like Elon Musk is saying free speech. Free speech has always gone through different levels of measurement patterns and assessment over the course of time. So if we understand the concept of freedom of speech, now people are sensitive for a lot of different reasons because more other groups are online that were not considered to have rights. Look, before civil rights, African Americans did not have the right to vote. And a whole bunch of other issues that were involved. They were not necessarily seen as equal citizens of society. So people would say, "Wow, stuff to Black people." They use their freedom of speech. Then somebody said
Shafiq,
civil rights, and you can't say this. And so now that had to get adjusted. The concept of free speech is always going to be, I believe, a work in progress.
can I say something?
Why can't we all be decent people? Why can't we be decent? I mean, why should you have the right to call somebody gay and all type of stuff? Like, why can't we be decent? If we are all decent, we don't have to worry about all this fighting.
But you see, you're talking about controlling speech, Kingsley.
That is not controlling speech.
That's what you're talking about.
If it elevates,
you're talking about controlling speech.
No.
You just said the Democrats don't want to control anything, but you're talking about censoring speech.
No, censoring hate speech. It's called hate speech.
But what is hate speech? Is it speech you don't like?
Google it.
No, but for you, what's hate speech? Because that CNN poll includes a lot of statements of stuff they don't like, not just hate speech.
That is not true. Harry, you want to move the goalpost. That's not happening.
No, I'm not. You guys move the goalpost.
Right. Harry, you sound like your boy wants to get rid of the Constitution. That's the same thing. That's exactly
that's what you just did. You just said you want to censor speech.
That's exactly what
that's what you're doing. You can't say that. You cannot say that you don't want to control anything, but you want to control my speech.
Harry, Google hate speech. Google the meaning
The
of
thing
hate
is,
speech.
Kingsley, hate
Well-
speech is free speech. You're
Hate
muted.
speech is not free speech.
Unfortunately, it's unfortunate. It is unfortunate, but it is.
It is.
You know, and it's unfortunate. And that's
The
all
way
we
you
have to say.
combat hate speech is with good speech, right? Bad speech, right? Good speech cancels out bad speech. But the thing is that there's a lot of stuff you don't like that's true that you call hate speech. So that's how you
there's
cancel
always-
a person.
So here's the deal. There's always been hate speech in America. I'm a product of hate speech, right? And as long as I'm here, the way I look, there's going to be somebody that's not going to like me because I'm black. And they're not
Kingsley
gonna
already
have,
doesn't like you.
especially nice things to say about that. But here's the deal. In the past history of America, we did not have the platform to be able to broadcast that. Right? Internet is only, under 30 years old, right? And then these other platforms, YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and all these other social media platforms did not exist 30 years ago. So yeah, people had hate speech, but you would have to get on the phone and call somebody, or you would have to call the radio show, and they'd be like, "Yes,
Right.
On the line we
But-
have Joe Brown." And
Right,
like,
but I didn't hear Kingsley complaining about Twitter censoring the New York Post over a story, right? He never said anything about that. He was happy with that, right? So that's the thing, is that the Democrats choose what speech to cancel.
What are you talking about, Willis? What are you talking about, Harry? The problem
You're not
we've
a
had in the
Democrat,
past
Paul,
year,
remember.
the problem
Stop
we've had in the
defending
past year or so is right. The problem we've had in the past. The problem we have had is some people have been immune to what's been going on. Some of us have had it enough. Harry, listen to me for a minute. The past election that we just had, the reason Republicans
So you're
lost.
saying one guy.
Listen to me. No, I'm
Right,
not
so
saying one
one
guy.
guy.
I'm not saying one guy.
So
Harry,
you see
listen
how
to me.
you-
Okay, all right.
But wait a
All right,
minute,
so
Paul.
maybe we're done.
Paul,
We're done because
You're
we're
saying
done because I
one
can't even
guy,
talk.
and I'm on the radio, by the way, so everybody's hearing.
No, we're not
Democrats,
talking
Paul.
about one guy. I'm
Democrats
talking about
in general, just like you
guys
say
just-
Republicans are
Harry,
white supremacists because of three guys.
Harry, you guys just lost the Senate, and why
Right,
did
so
you lose
right,
the Senate?
but you're gonna
Okay,
do,
all
but you're gonna name me
This is
just
why
a
I told
couple,
you I
right?
can't- This is why I told
This
you I
is the
couldn't
thing.
debate, because I can't even
It's
talk.
true, and why you're not a Democrat, Paul? Don't worry about it. By the way, yeah. See, so Paul, the non-Democrat, is defending Democrats. No, Paul, because I'm making a general statement. I'm not picking one guy, and you don't do general statements. It has neither. Your statement is like that's neither here nor there, right? That's neither here nor there, regardless of what I say. Anyway, so I got to get off air because
So here's the deal. Birth of a nation.
Paul just got on the radio and messed up everything.
Birth of the nation.
But the thing is, Paul, you're not a Democrat because you're constantly telling me that. So stop defending Democrats. No, in my fact, it's not wrong. No, you're cherry picking. You're cherry picking.
Who you talking to? So tell Paul I said what's up. Harry, can you hear me, Kingsley?
Yep.
So, Birth of a Nation. Have you ever? I don't know if you heard of that film. Birth of a Nation, originally called The Klansman, was a film that actually was viewed in the White House back in the early 1900s, and very offensive film, but it was free speech.
Go ahead.
You get
Well,
fired.
anyway, so Kingsley loves to censor free speech. They don't like privacy, right? They want to invade the other person's privacy, but not theirs.
I want to censor free. I'm just a decent human being that hates hate speech. I don't want to censor.
Me too, Kingsley.
No, hold up, Harry. Hold on. Let me.
But I prefer to hear what a person's thinking.
For a minute. I run an organization called Community Against Violence, Connecticut Against Violence. I'm against all type of violence. I'm against anything that sparks violence. All right. And I'm reading this thing over here.
Speech is violence.
What? What you said, Shafiq?
Well,
Hate speech is
I
violent.
I will.
So speech is
In this environment,
violence.
it is.
Hate speech
Yeah.
is violence. Hate speech
In this
provokes
environment,
violence.
it is.
But
In this environment, it is.
yeah.
You know, listen, look, if you don't think
nothing to do with me
if
being
you
a
don't
Democrat
think-
or
listen,
Republican or
if
anything.
you don't think that-
Action is violence.
if you don't think that hate speech is violent, look at what happened with Will Smith and Chris Rock.
That was a smack, Shafiq. That was violent.
It came from hate speech. It came from
No,
hate
no.
speech. It was
No,
sparked
no,
from
no.
hate speech. Harry, you are
No,
too much
Will
in denial,
Smith
bro.
smacked somebody. It
Harry,
wasn't Chris Rock's
Harry,
joke.
you stay in denial, bro. That's why I
You
can
know,
never
this is the
debate
thing. You guys are
You stay in
insane.
denial, bro.
Chris
Now you want
Rock-
to censor
Chris
Chris Rock?
Chris
But you
Rock
know
wants
what?
to use his Chris Rock wants to use his freedom of speech.
Oh my
And
God.
and his freedom of speech.
This is the problem with
resulted in
Democrats.
violence.
And then they say they're not the ones who want to control people. But now
That is
Chris
not
Rock can't say a
controlling.
joke.
That is not controlling, bro. That is not controlling. That is not. We run into a lot of country. We run into a lot of non-democratic country.
You would love to live in China, wouldn't you? You would love to live in China,
Don't talk to me
Kingsley.
about China,
They
bro.
asked
Don't
Tupac-
talk to me about
they asked-
China.
When Tupac was alive, they asked Tupac, they said, "Why are you frustrated?" He said, "I got a right to be frustrated." He said, "My people have been persecuted." Right?
You're quite hostile. I got a right to be hostile.
Hostile, right?
Everybody
You got a right to be
does.
hostile. So people are.
Everybody does. It's
I agree,
actions.
Harry. So Harry, what I'm saying to you is, I agree. You know, black people historically.
Chris Rock making a bull joke was violence?
It's sparked violence.
Harry, here's what I'm
Well,
gonna tell you.
forget that.
Harry, here's what I'm gonna tell you so you can have a future reference. Keep my wife's name out your mouth.
There you go. There you go. It was the action, the smack that was violent, not a ball joke.
What led to the smart? What led to it?
What led to it? Will Smith's history of being a weak person.
You are too in denial, bro. I'm not even sure if you're for real or not. So that's
I'm not sure if you're for real.
I am for real.
I'm not sure if you're for real because you want to censor speech and you're telling me.
I'm not trying to censor nothing.
What are you trying to do then?
What
are you trying to do?
Can we be decent? Can we be decent people?
Chris Rock was the wrong person in this. My God, you guys are insane.
Boxing match between you and Kingsley for charity. Can I get a boxing match with y'all for charity?
I'm sure Paul agrees with that too. It was Chris Rock who caused the violence.
If you was a police officer,
Might
right?
as well agree with it.
If I went out there to do a rally and I incited a riot, I get arrested, right?
Inciting a riot.
But you see how you take
right?
everything out of context. I can't.
Actually, you could get arrested before the riot.
My statement was true. You picked one Democrat who came out and said. But the Democrats, Paul.
Intent to commit
so why you say
a riot?
Why you call everybody a supremacist when they're not? That's insane.
That's so cool.
You do that all the time. You know what? I'm gonna do it from now on, Paul. I'll point out every time you talk in general.
Stop fighting with Paul, man. Stop fighting with Paul.
He keeps arguing with me. This guy just.
Stop fighting with Paul, man.
You argue with everybody. Harry. That should tell you a lot about yourself. You argue with everybody.
No. Look, let me tell you something. Just because Paul's on your side, it doesn't say a lot about me. It says a lot about Paul that he's on Kingsley's side.
No, but Harry, look at all this mess you put in
Kingsley's
the chat.
insane.
Harry, everything you put in the chat is freaking senseless, bro.
Yeah,
let's read it. Let's read it.
We started with 3 hours of January 6th.
Let's read it. The Democrats hate the Constitution and have called it outdated. That's true. Ask Shafiq, right?
What do we hate about the Constitution? What do we hate about the Constitution? What do we hate about the Constitution?
You just hate free speech. You just say you hate free speech.
We hate
that writes itself, Kingsley.
Bro.
What do you hate about the Constitution? You just hate.
Like that it was written in cursive.
You hate free speech, Kingsley.
We hate speech, not free speech.
But you don't understand that hate speech is free speech.
Oh, but your boy wants to demolish the whole Constitution. What is free speech under? It's under the Constitution, right? You can't even answer that. He wants to take the whole Constitution apart.
You're wrong. You're completely wrong.
How am I wrong? Okay, I'm done.
You're completely wrong. Free speech, hate speech is free speech, and you don't even understand that.
Trump wants to take the whole Constitution apart, and free speech is under the Constitution.
I told you
to answer that.
You see, this is easy for me. This is easy because
answer that. That one is easy.
I'm gonna answer it right now. This is easy for me because
this
is the thing. I can be honest. I don't have to pick a side. Trump was talking out of his ass when he said that.
Oh, now he wants to make excuses for
You
him.
see what I'm saying? I could say
over.
that. I don't have to defend the insane
so we should have
Trump.
a president.
But
that
you
talks out of his
do.
ass,
You
right?
defend the insane on the left.
So we should have a
I
president
think
of
Paul
the
would
United
prefer me
States.
saying the
So
left
at
and Democrats.
2024, we should have a president that talks out of his ass, right?
I think what should happen.
Even
Here's
though
what
he's
I
not
think
a
should happen.
Democrat.
Here's what I think should happen. Y'all ever play Pokemon? Did y'all ever play Pokemon?
I haven't, but my granddaughter does.
Okay, so in Pokemon, they'll have one character that has fire, and you gotta guess what's the weapon to use against that character to win. One of y'all is fire, and one of y'all need to be water. And y'all are cancel each other out.
Okay, well, can we put it? Can we just put it in intelligence, and one of us has to be smart, and the other one has to be dumb?
No, you don't, because you both can be
because
right.
Kingsley, Kingsley's out there.
You both can be right.
No. Kingsley's not right.
No,
Free
it's the whole-
speech is
the whole-
important, and he wants to censor it. That's saying that he wants to cancel the First
Yeah, but
Amendment. You're
I'm
against the
not canceling
Constitution.
nothing. Your side
Kingsley.
got canceled. Your side got canceled in the election, bro. Y'all got canceled. Y'all were supposed to win the Senate. We took seats that we wasn't supposed to take. We defended our seats. Come
Kingsley,
on, Harry.
you won one more seat.
Harry, independence.
Kingsley, you won one more seat.
No,
Calm
Harry.
down. Calm down. They took the House of Representatives. Calm down, Kingsley.
Y'all was supposed to
You won
sweep it.
one more seat.
Harry, y'all was supposed to sweep it.
But you
bro.
won one more seat. Calm down.
Werewolf.
Okay. They
Werewolf
won the
and
House of
vampire.
Representatives, Kingsley.
Y'all was
I
trying
think
to win the election on the
what's
werewolf
really
and
interesting-
vampire.
You won one more seat, Kingsley. One.
You know what's really interesting?
You know what y'all
about both of
wanted.
you-
You know
what's
what y'all
interesting
wanted.
about both of you.
You just talked like you had a landslide. You won one more seat.
No, we control. We didn't win one seat. We control the Senate. How about that?
But
We
how
didn't
about the
win
House of
one seat.
Representatives?
We House of Representatives. Y'all should have swept it. Y'all didn't. It's about how
Wait,
many.
what are you
have to
talking
work
about?
with. That's
So
why
you
y'all
still
don't even
got
have
it?
a leader. That's why y'all don't even have a leader.
You
of the
still
House.
got it?
Yeah. What's going on with
Yeah.
Kevin McCarthy?
You still got it,
I think-
Kingsley?
you know,
You're insane. This is what I'm saying. You're in
bad part
denial
of it
now.
is, the bad part of it is,
Now you're
as
in
I'm listening
denial.
as I'm listening to both of
You're
you,
Unbelievable.
supposed to take both, Harry.
Both
You
of
know
you-
you're crying inside. You know you're crying inside.
both
You know
of
you're
you
crying.
operating as it's a split government. It's like we got the House. We got the
Kingsley
Senate.
put
It's one
some
America.
CNN polls like they're facts. What a jokester.
Oh, no. I put up some facts.
What
The
a
fact that
jokester.
your
One America.
alternative facts don't agree.
Kingsley.
It's not my fault. It's not my fault. You watch a propaganda channel. That's not my fault.
Kingsley,
That
I
is
don't want to
not my
say.
fault. That's
I don't
on
want to
you.
say what I.
That is on you, Harry.
Let me
That is
just.
on you.
Let me be nice to
No,
you.
don't get him upset.
Let me be nice to you, Kingsley.
All right,
No,
guys,
you ain't gotta be nice to me.
Because you look, you,
I get
you know,
real
you go
news.
crazy.
No,
So
I get
calm
real
down,
news.
Kingsley.
You get a propaganda news.
Relax. You have your daughter on your lap. Relax. Don't go too crazy.
I have my daughter on my lap. That's why I want to make sure free hate speech is controlled. As you can see,
That's true. But
That's
you
why
also
I
want her to
make
have freedom of
controlled,
speech,
as you can
Kingsley.
see.
That is true.
Anyway.
You are going to want to have
You're gonna
speech.
want her to have free
That's
speech,
true.
Kingsley. And then when the
If the
other side
tables-
decides
if
to
the
police
tables
your
turn
speech because
30,
they don't like
That's
it,
right. If the tables turn, I'll
Hate
give you an example,
speech.
and I'll give you- I'll
If
give
the
you an
amendment
example.
needs to, if the
this is
constitution
the
needs to
thing.
be
You
amended,
always
I'm all
think
for
that
it.
your side
Hate-
is always going to be in
Hate
control.
speech should not be free
You lose
speech.
yourselves in your bias.
I'm a Christian. I believe in the 10 Commandments. I believe in honor thy neighbor as thyself and everything under it. Hate speech
You
should
you
not
don't
be
believe
free
that.
speech. Hate
You don't
speech
believe
should
that,
not be free
Kingsley.
speech.
You don't believe
All right?
that.
Hate speech should not be free speech.
Here's
You
what I'm
say
telling
that, and then you
In-
say
in-
the opposite by
in
saying there's a censor.
Indonesia just passed a new law that if you criticize the government, it's considered blasphemy, and you
Kingsley
will
loves
be in
that.
prison
Kingsley loves that.
5 years. So they have removed.
Kingsley should move over there or to China.
They removed it.
China.
That's not China. That's the. I'm out here. It ain't China,
That's
dude.
it. All right. I gotta wrap. You guys have gone long enough.
Yeah. All right.
Kingsley has gone long enough with his insane.
Shouts to your party, the
speech.
party of the
We should
the party
censor
of the
him.
Nazis. Shouts to your party, the party of the
I
Nazis.
agree with you, Kingsley. Let's censor speech. We should start with you.
Your party is the party of the Nazis.
I'm gonna bring on a political interventionist on the next.
I think you don't understand anything, Kingsley. Look at the history and which party started the KKK. I think you don't understand anything.
Shafiq,
Go
I
and look
proved it.
up the
I
Democrat
proved it
Party.
from your message
But
yesterday. I
let's
said I
wrap
would
here.
not
Let's
debate,
wrap because
right?
I gotta
I
go.
told you that.
I got
Dude, I
things to
gotta
do.
get off this thing, man. I love y'all. Wrap up. Out.
Kingsley, at least you have a beautiful daughter, Kingsley. At least you got that.
Later, bro. It's executive produced by me. Later,
Take
Harry.
care. Take care.
Talk to you later.
Yep.